Welcome on in to another YouTube video where today we are going to be taking a look at the operator Mozzie. In today's guide we are going to be covering everything you need to know in depth for the operator Mozzie, and we're going to be giving you lots of tips and tricks along the way to help you out. Now we did in fact do this guide live on stream on Twitch, and if you would like to pop by when I am doing them so you can pick up a few extra tips and tricks for Siege, I'm always live to answer your questions on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 6:30 PM BST. There will be a link down below. Now, there are a lot of mistakes and areas that you can go wrong with the Australian operator Mozzie, so we'll dive into that and explain them to help you out in Siege. If you do find this video useful or you enjoy it, be sure to drop a like on the video, and let's dive on into it. Now, Mozzie has got for his loadout, for his primaries, he's got the Commando 9 with a lovely pizza skin on it, he's got the P10 Ronnie, and as well he's also got the SDP 9mm, which is your only secondary, barbed wire, and the nitro itself. Now for the two primaries, it gets a little bit of a sticky situation because they're quite evenly matched, to be fair. Now there is a winner in my eyes, I would say. I'm not sure about what would you think on it, but for the Commando 9 and the P10 Ronnie, I would definitely recommend the Commando 9. The P10 Ronnie has only got 19 bullets in its one magazine, whereas the Commando 9 has got 25. Now that is quite a difference, especially when 19 is such a low number. With the damage as well, the Commando 9 is going to come out on top. That fire rate isn't really worth having less bullets, less damage as well. You'll find yourself not being able to really finish off that kill with the P10 Ronnie, whereas the Commando 9 you'll be able to finish your kill because of the extra ammo that you have got and the little bit of extra damage. And as well, you've got a fantastic reload animation. You can't really miss out on the reload animation for the Commando 9. We all know we like that one. And then for the secondary, obviously run the SDP 9mm. For the gadgets, it's a clear winner in my eyes. The nitro cell is what I'd recommend to go for. The barbed wire can be useful for a sound cue to slow them down, but when combining with your ability and the C4, the C4 is such a valuable gadget to have. I'd definitely recommend you to bring that one. Now for Mozzie's roles, Mozzie is really a jack of all trades. Mozzie can play a hell of a lot of roles. He's a roamer, an anchor and a lurker as well, I do believe. Now he can very easily anchor, purely because of the intel that his drones are going to provide. And as well with his ability, which we'll move on to very soon. He can very easily block off intel and deny that access and waste the utility for the enemy, which is a big factor of being an anchor, having that intel not being revealed. Drones as well, when you do capture a drone as Mozzie, anchoring with them is fantastic. So obviously, it can also play a roamer role as well. And the reason why that works for Mozzie is because with his drones, you can provide a lot of intel either for the roamers on your team, or if you're playing Mozzie as a roamer yourself, you can use that intel and act on it. One of the main things a roamer needs is intel. Mozzie's drones provide a lot of that for a roamer, which is why you're able to use that drone to your advantage as a roamer. Now moving on to Mozzie's ability, for the general placement of it, what I would recommend doing is looking at the highly contested areas. What I mean is, where do you think a drone's going to come through? If we take a look at a map like Border, what are the common drone spots when they're going to be attacking armory? What do you want to block off that intel for? Now you don't have to necessarily position your Mozzie pests in an area that is going to block off the intel and capture that drone. You don't always need to capture a drone as Mozzie, which is a big factor that not many people know. It's where people go wrong when playing Mozzie. You can simply block off an area with Mozzie and deny that intel. Waste the utility, waste their time, and deny intel. It's going to be a lot of a hassle for an attacker to have to either get their drone captured, take their drone, move it into a new location. You're wasting time, wasting utility if you capture a drone, and as well, you're blocking off the area for them to drone out. Which means either you place it down for a drone in mind, or you place it down to block off the intel, or both, which works quite well. So if I think on board, if I'm playing armory, what areas are going to be drones coming through? Now a common push for a drone to come through is going to be right here on the stairs. Now you can block off the stairs here, and as well the doorway with that. Not all of it, but partially as well. Positioning on that doorway, very common entry point for drones to come in, take control of CCTV. As well in archives, put another drone down here. Mozzie Pest, in fact, is going to block off that whole area. Also going to cause them to not be able to get their drone through. And you've got another one here. Now, I know a lot of Mozzie players will like to, if they see a drone, they might run after it for a little bit, capturing it off. But again, it comes back down to this point. Do you want to deny the intel, block off the utility, and have to waste the time? Or do you want to grab a drone for intel? Realistically, as a Mozzie player, you're not going to be getting 3 drones every time. What will happen is you might get 1 drone or 2 drones. The rest can be used to block off the intel. But have in mind, when you are going to be chasing that drone around, do you necessarily need that drone straight away? Could you block off a little more intel, waste a little more time in a certain area, and then potentially pick up a drone later on in the round? That's what you got to be asking yourself as a Mozzie player. Now for the positioning of the drones, when you actually go ahead and capture a drone, you can, for example, if I was to capture a drone from here, if I had a drone right now, my positioning of the drone, I'll hop onto an attacking round to show you, is realistically an attacker is going to notice the difference, especially in more advanced levels and ranks. They're going to know the difference between a Mozzie drone and a regular drone, their drone. The main difference is that the blue, the little screen isn't going to be white, it's going to be blue instead. If I come over here and show you what it would look like, obviously the drone gets captured by that Mozzie pest. The attacker's going to know because they're going to drive that drone into the Mozzie pest. They're going to know, so either they're going to shoot it out straight away, or we're going to grab the drone as Mozzie, drive it away to a safe position. There's no point trying to fake the attackers out with your drone, trying to make them think that your Mozzie drone is actually an attacker drone. Most advanced players or players with some knowledge will be able to tell the difference quite heavily, as they're going to know their teammates have called it out that they've got a Mozzie, it's been captured, and so on and so forth. Right, so for the Mozzie placements with the drone, you don't want to be placing it right in the open. If I place it here, that's a very bad placement, because especially if you are to get a drone when using your pests, what's going to happen is when I go on this drone, a blue light is going to come on, very easy to spot from a distance. And if you are trying to play that mentality of, you can fake the attackers out thinking it's one of their own drones, not realistically going to work against players who know what they're doing. Instead, go for a more closed off approach. Putting a drone in here, like this, can be great, because A, you can see underneath, but the main thing that you want to be doing with these Mozzie drones, is what I would recommend, is for example, if I'm a defender, imagine I'm a defender here, holding down this area, closing off the main lobby. What I can very easily do with my Mozzie drone is, for example, if I had it here, I'm going to be covering the hallway. What I can now do is very easy, flick around here, see there's an attacker pushing, get off my drone and use that intel to my advantage. Keep the Mozzie drone tight and closed off in a certain area, so keep it behind cover and act on it. Don't get tunnel visioned in. Act on it when you need to. Quickly peek around the corner to check the intel if you need to, whether you're roaming as Mozzie, whether you're anchoring, and then play off that intel. Either deliver it to your team, play off it like I did in the example before, or quite frankly what you can do instead is just use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. You've got the intel there, make the most of it. Positioning it in places like this, even over here where it's a little bit behind cover, still not the greatest placement, because at the end of the day you're not going to trick an attacker thinking that it's hidden in that such a weird spot. What attackers are going to place their drone there? Now as well, another little tip with Mozzie, if I was to be a Mozzie player here, I can only get my drone out for around about 3 seconds. Obviously I'm an attacker, so it's not going to affect me. I can put my drone out here for 3 seconds. If I keep it out longer, I'm going to lose connection. As a Mozzie player, it's going to be like a glitched effect on your screen, like a mute jammer. But obviously I'm an attacker right now, so it's not going to have that effect. But that is what's going to happen. Now as Mozzie, you can use it to your advantage. Quickly peek around here and peek around there. If I come over here to a new area, if I come over to the electrical door, and if I end up opening this, and then what I can do for a spawn peek, for example, if I'm a Mozzie player, if I've got a drone early on in the prep phase, I can quite frankly peek like that. For 3 seconds is what you've got unless you lose connection. Then come around here and obviously act on that intel. But the big thing is where players go wrong as well, is they're going to get tunnel visioned in. You don't be a Mozzie player like this. You're not someone who's here, you sit on your drone the whole round gathering intel. You're going to get too tunnel visioned in. Right here, if you're sitting on your drone this whole round, for the majority of it getting tunnel visioned in, there's no point having intel when you're tunnel visioned into the drone and you're not going to be acting on it. As well with Mozzie, what I'd also recommend you to do is, like I did mention, is holding down a certain area. If I wanted to control the map control for security, CCTV, and break, what I'd do is I'd place my Mozzie pest down here. I'd potentially get another one in here. Again, putting 3 in one room, not the best idea, which is why I spread it a little bit further, maybe on the 90 corridor is where I could position it. I could position it down by electrical, on the stairs, wherever you choose to. Now the great thing about holding here is if you're trying to hold down here with Mozzie, it's fantastic because they're not going to be able to drone out, get the intel that they need, and you're going to be able to use that to your advantage. If you're not able to drone yourself in as an attacker because the Mozzie pest is there, it's either going to delay time and they'll find a new way to get around it, or they're not going to be able to go in and they'll send it with not droning. Now the ability and where Mozzie comes into play is when they don't drone, and droning is a vital tool on attacking. When they don't drone, what happens is they're going to be pushing in blindly, not expect you to be in here, and you can let them play into your hands, all while controlling the map control for this area. Now I did mention about how I wouldn't really recommend chasing around a drone to get that drone. Mozzie and the reason why players go wrong is because they see the drone as their tool and their main focus. Instead, the intel denial, wasting the attacker's time finding a new route to go around, and the utility wasting aspect of Mozzie is the main thing here, which is why in the preparation phase you don't always have to place your pest down straight away. What you can do, shoot out the drones in the first hand. Essentially what you will be doing with Vigil in the prep phase, eliminating any intel that the team will be offering. When you shoot out the intel, if you have 5 drones that have been shot out, the enemy team are then going to bring 5 more in the action phase. That is when you can place your pest down, and then when you place them down, what is going to happen is it's going to make it 10 times harder, because they're not going to have an extra drone to save. Their drone might have already been shot out by you, and it's going to limit the intel, and overall the main focus with Mozzie is to limit the intel, waste time, deny utility, shooting out the drones in the prep phase before, and then actually placing your ability down to deny the intel, cover the main points that you want to cover. Is going to be really advantageous to your team. Now as well, another few quick tricks for Mozzie and a few counters to him is the first one is going to be knock. If knock was to activate her ability and you're on your Mozzie drone, knock is essentially going to be invisible, because at the end of the day it is a camera. It works like the default camera. If knock activates her ability, then she goes and walks around. Mozzie isn't going to be able to see her on the drone, which is going to essentially make knock evasive to Mozzie drones. Now as well, what another counter to Mozzie is going to be is Dokkaebi. If Dokkaebi hacks the cameras, when a defender phone does drop on the ground when they get eliminated, if Dokkaebi goes and hacks it, what's going to happen? Dokkaebi gets access to all cameras, including Valkyrie cameras, Defender default cameras, and as well Mozzie drones. Now they can't regain it, so they can't go and drive it around, but they can view it, so you have to bear that in mind when a hack does take place on a Mozzie drone. As well, Mozzie can actually counter Twitch, and this does mean that Mozzie is able to capture a Twitch drone and actually use the Twitch drone ability, being able to use the shock to zap things utility wise and that type of stuff when using Mozzie's ability, which is great because having that Twitch drone is so useful to deny the intel, and the ability from the attacking team and to actually have it on your team as well is fantastic with Mozzie. Overall, Mozzie's a fantastic operator. I'd highly recommend you to pick him up if you're all about that intel denial, a jack of all trades as well.
And that is going to be everything you need to know for the operator Mozzie in Rainbow Six Siege. I hope you have all enjoyed, and if you do have any questions about the video on Mozzie himself, feel free to ask me them in the Discord, and there will be a link down below if you would like to join. And that is the Mozzie guide that we have covered on the channel, but I want to know, who is your favourite defender in Rainbow Six Siege? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video or it did help you out, be sure to drop a like on the video, and subscribe for more tips and tricks like this. And I hope you all have an incredible rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.